Hello and welcome to the Zach Ratliff Show. I'm Zach. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for being a part of the show. I'd like to thank God for another day alive. Thank God for another day in the greatest country He's ever put on the face of this earth, creating more opportunity than ever before in history, both here and around the world because of the things we do in this country. It's our job to maintain it. It's our job to talk about the flaws and the good things. It's our job to point out how we can move forward and keep our traditions and our way of life intact. So that's what I intend to do with this podcast. For those of you that are new, I've got a few filters that I go through. Number one, I'm a Christian. Everything I do, I try to run through that. Does that mean I'm perfect? No, I'm far from it. Number two, I'm a father. Everything I try to do is, how do I look at this as being responsible for a little girl and hoping, trying to help her have a better life. Number three, I'm a son. How do I make my parents proud and be proud of what I do and who I am? From there, I'm a conservative. I do other things, but those are my main filters. And so, if you didn't know that, now you do. That's how I approach life. I'm not always good at it, but I try. I'm blessed by God, and so that's the thing. Okay, I'm going to jump into it this morning. This is a subject I really stay away from, and I'll tell you why I stay away from it. I don't stay away from it, but I don't steer into it all the time because. And I know it's inherent with having a podcast, or like I used to be on the radio and have thousands of listeners there. You don't like to be called a bigot or a racist or a homophobe, or that you hate midgets or, animals or whatever. And I'm none of those things. However, the way you're controlled is the media and the cloud around everything just creates an echo chamber calling you these things when you talk about certain subjects. But I'm going to, and I'm going to make a point with it. So if you'll go to the dailycallerNewsFoundation.org, or you don't have to because I'm going to tell you about it, dailycallerNewsFoundation.org. The article title is Corporate America Retreats from Gay Pride Events Across U.S. Amid Trump DEI Crackdown. Now, there's two ways to read this. I'll give you both. Well, I'll try to give you both sides. The liberal side will tell you that these companies are afraid and they don't want to make Trump mad because of persecution and they can't, and so they're just doing this out of fear. I don't believe that at all. These companies hadn't been afraid of this for years. They've gone into it. They've dived into it. They've made it who they are with what they promote. Now, here's a side note. If you're a consenting adult, I don't care what you do as long as it doesn't affect me and infringe on my rights. You have the right to do what you want to do. Just don't have it infringe on my rights if you're a consenting adult. Now, that being said, the companies that support this, they can support it if they want to. However, what this tells me, and these people are going to use Trump as a way to back out of it, and the DEI crackdown as a way of, well, we can't support it just because we don't know what's going to happen. But here's a note I sent to myself. This should tell you all you need to know. These companies have played everyone for profit. That's exactly right. They never cared about your values. They didn't care about whatever cause you supported. They didn't care about if you were this color or that color or love this person or love that person or what. Didn't matter. And it's like my favorite quote from The Jerk, it's a profit thing. They were able to use this, and then the government for a time was backing it up and making everybody cower to it. So they were able to play this up saying, oh, we're pro this. And you should support us, and you should come give us your money. Now, you have to remember, less than 10%, 100%, but around 5-ish, 3-ish% of people identify as gay, lesbian, whatever. So it's a really niche market out of 350 million people. You've got 17 million. It's not many. Okay? But everybody wanted to feel good. And the companies knew people wanted to feel inclusive. And they wanted to feel like they were showing their support. And they couldn't say they wouldn't shop there because they were hateful. So these companies just dove into it. And they pushed into it because they knew no one had the courage or the backbone to say, I don't necessarily agree with that. So these companies never had anybody's best interest at heart but their own. And that's okay. They're allowed to do that. However, they've lied and manipulated to different groups of people, making them think they care. They don't care. Companies aren't in the business of caring. They're in the business of acquiring and maintaining customers and taking care of their stockholders, no matter what. And this just shows it. We're going to have to back away from pride events because it doesn't make you money anymore. That's why. If I was a gay or a lesbian person, I would be insulted. Because, hey, I thought you did this because you cared about the way I feel. I thought you cared about this because you wanted me to help support my lifestyle, that you wanted to give me a bigger voice. It turns out that's not the case. These companies didn't care about their voice. They didn't care how you lived. They didn't care what you did or if you were minimalized. There's no compassion on the left. On the right, people have hearts like, hey, you do what you want to do. You know, just be a consenting adult. Don't let it infringe on our rights. See, it was never about compassion. It's a weird thing when you look about how history's been written, that there'd be no compassion on the left, and the left would be for big business. But that's exactly what has happened with this turn from DEI on these corporations. I mean, you know, name the company, right? And you've seen it in the last few years. That's what's happened. The manipulation. And now, I don't know that people are waking up to it. It won't be reported as such. But the companies never cared. They don't care. They've never cared about how people felt or who they loved. They just cared about themselves. And they used a movement. They used people in order to manipulate you into feeling better about yourself and being perceived as inclusive, all to the betterment of their bottom line. That's what's aggravated me about this whole thing. Go do what you want to do. Don't let these companies think that you're doing it for the wrong reason and they're going to shove it down my throat. And here again, that's what's happened. All right, let's jump to something else. And it's these worthless Republicans we've got in the Congress, really, but the House of Representatives is what I want to focus on. How many days, you, viewer or listener, are you going to work on an average month? Let's say, now if you're not a teacher or something, you know, and I don't even want to get into that, but how many days are you going to work in the month of June? Even if you take a vacation. Let's say you take 1 week of vacation. So you're still going to work right at 15 days if you have 3 5-day weeks. Well, what's the schedule for the House of Representatives in June? How many people how many days are they going to work? Well, they're scheduled to work 14 days in the month of June. But don't worry, they don't have time to balance the budget. They don't have time to codify the Doge cuts. They don't have time to do what the people want them to because they're going to work 14 days in June. Okay, maybe that's a one-off. Maybe they just a slam-packed calendar and they're going to figure it out in July. So how many days are they going to work in July? Oh, 12. 12 working days in July. So you're telling me out of 60-ish days, they're going to work 26 days. 26 days. We don't have time to get anything done. It's like, I remember a conversation I was told about years ago. Someone was in Starbucks and heard this soccer mom. And if you're a soccer mom, good for you. I'm not against it. But picker, this person was in there getting their coffee and heard this lady say, well, there's just not much time to get anything done between 8 and 3. What? You mean you're just writing off those 7 hours because you can't schedule yourself well enough to be productive? That's ludicrous. And, but maybe it gets better in August. So we got 14 working days for the House of Representatives in June. We've got 12 working days for the House of Representatives in July. How about August? 0 working days in August. How crazy is that? I mean, blows my mind that we've even allowed that to be a reality. 0 working days? You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Hey, I want to take this time to thank our sponsor who they work. They work. They make things happen. That's Elmwood Custom Goods. I promise you, the gang out there isn't working 0 days in August, or only 14 days in June, or only 12 in July. Check out their website, Elmwood Custom Goods. They're doing good things. Also want to thank Mortgage Financial Services here in Texarkana and that group over there. I promise you, I've already been on the phone with them this morning about some deals. They're working. They're making it happen. And I'd also like to thank Church on the Rock. That's churchontherock.org. Anyway, yeah, so all these other groups I just listed, even Church on the Rock, they're a church, but they're working today. You know, everybody I know is at work and going to work more than 14 days this month. It's just wild. I know some people that are on a cruise right now, and they'll still work more than 14 days. And they're on a long cruise. It's just amazing. But then you go to Gunther Engelman, and you can find that calendar on Steve Scalise's website, and he's the majority leader of the House of Representatives. But then you go to Gunther Engelman on X.com, and it says, breaking. Sources are telling me that the congressional committee chairmen are too busy to push any bills that would codify Doge cuts. Too busy? What are you doing? Besides figuring a way to take our tax money, to grift off of us, figuring out how to not get sued for whatever you've got going on up there. You're up there hobnobbing and all that. We need to bring these representatives home and do everything through a secure online vote, secure video chats. Bring them back home to where they have to see you at the grocery store, where they have to see you when they're pumping gas. Up there with a bunch of yes men and yes women, everybody up there trying to get rich. That's not what we send anybody to do. Hey, I'm all for getting rich. I'm all for making money. Just don't do it off money you stole from me. That's what's happening. That's what's happening. Now, is every congressperson evil? No. I think, honestly, most go up there with good intentions. But you know what your grandma told you? Good intentions paved the way to hell. And if she didn't say it, your grandpa probably did. Anyway, it's just a wild deal. Now, here's an article about Trump preparing for all circumstances. It's from the Wall Street Journal. The U.S. reinforces Europe's northern front, fearing a war with Russia. Because NATO's pushing so hard to drive us into war. These war hawks are pushing us so hard to have war. We have to be prepared. And it's good to have a president that's like, hey, we're going to be getting ready and we're going to push for peace all at the same time. That's how it works. That's the way this thing goes. You can't be mad that he's pushing for peace, and you can't be mad that he's getting ready for war, all to keep us safe. That's what happens. And I'm glad to have it. I'm glad to have a president that will stand up for us. So there's that. Let's see what else we've got here. Those were the two main points, or the three main points I wanted to hit today. Just the working days in Congress just really got all over me, and I just felt like that was something we need to bring up and we need to talk about. So call your congressman. Call your congresswoman. The number is found. You can call the Capitol switchboard, then give them your name. You can search representative for my area through a quick internet search, and you'll find them. Let them know, hey, I have to work more than 14 days this month. I have to work more than 12 days next month. I have to work more than 0 days in August. These people represent us. They're representatives. We have a representative democracy. We're a republic. They don't represent you if they're not working. We're the makers. We're out here paying taxes, paying sales taxes, paying income taxes, paying all 60 cents out of every dollar you're paying taxes on in some way. Yet they're only going to work a few days. Yeah, and then if we take too many days for vacation, it's a problem. Some of you work on PTO, and your company only gives you so many days. You can't just say, I'm only working 12. Right? Some of us, like me, we work for ourselves. The days we don't work, we don't get paid. Yeah, I can't take 20 days off a month. Work every day. Oh, I'm going on vacation, but I'm going to go ahead and hammer out a couple of these calls while I'm on the way. Hey, I'm on vacation, but I'm going to schedule 2 hours in midday so I can make some calls, make sure everything's all right. Let me check this email. Let me do this. I don't have a staff that the government pays for in 3 offices. You know, you got your Washington, D.C. office. You got your local office that are in a few different counties, right? If you're a congressperson. I don't have a staff of 20 people that are making it all happen. What are you too busy for? You can't go up there and work. You can't go up there and do your job. You can't go up there and represent. You don't represent me if you're not working. That's not a representative. Anyway, I've beat this horse. It isn't getting up. I hope you all have a great day. I hope God blesses each and every one of you today. And we'll be back and we'll do it all again tomorrow. Have a good day.